I feel like rural communities are very close-knit, so they're very family-oriented and have more traditional values. When I realized I was writing a story about rural America, it made me think that I had an understanding of it. I thought I grew up in rural America, but the more I did research, I realized that rural America is a population of less than 2,500, and I grew up in a town of 15,000. So even though I was surrounded by cornfields, I wasn't in a rural community. And so I really didn't have an understanding of that until I did my own research on it. So Corrine Hendrickson is a mother, wife, a businesswoman, and caregiver, and a leader in her community that is motivating people to join the Childcare advocacy movement. And I got the opportunity to sit down with her over Zoom and connect with her to talk about her journey through the movement and the role that she has played in it and the impacts that she has made. What do you think are some of the biggest barriers to women participating in politics and decision making within your community?
A lot of it is our inability to see ourselves in those positions of power, honestly. It's not something that we see a lot of. It's not something that we talk a lot about. It was for those other people who had money and prestige and power and belonged in those spaces. That was not my role. It was definitely for the white older male. That's who we saw. It's changing marginally, but not a lot of the rural representatives are. They fit that status quo kind of stereotype, especially in our state.
My assumptions definitely changed. I think one of the things that surprised me while talking with Corrine was that she was a businesswoman and a mother and a wife, and she was juggling all of those roles at once. And she was very independent, and I think I wasn't expecting the role of working 60 hours a week and juggling family with your job. And it just seemed like she had a lot going on, but she was managing it well. So Corrine showed up for her community through just being represented in local meetings, town halls. She would come and speak on childcare advocacy and education. And so she let her voice be known, and so she was able to voice those concerns, and I think it inspired other people to also voice their concerns. Corrine started out very uncomfortable with voicing her concerns. She made it known to me through our interview that it's something that she had been working on for a long time, was this notion that you have to accept that not everyone's going to like you if you are going to voice your concerns.
Because if I try to please those people who are against me, they're probably never going to agree with me. I can talk to them about my reasons. I can talk to them about why, but at the end of the day, we're not going to agree. I'm not going to get them to like me. That took a long time. I'm still working on it, but with other women all over the state and country, especially rural, that's a lot that we grapple with.
And so she made it known that she felt vulnerable doing that, but she also felt empowered doing it. When Corrine talked about voicing her concerns and coming out of her comfort zone, it really resonated with me. I've also had to do things where I felt uncomfortable and had to get out of my comfort zone. Even very similar to hers, just voicing my needs and my concerns. Those are all really hard things to do, and you feel uncomfortable doing it, but like Corrine said, it's something that if you do feel empowered. Corrine talked a little bit about how some women struggle with this feeling, an internal feeling of being less than, and they grapple with this feeling that they don't belong in a certain area or a certain space.
As low status professionals, low status educators, low paid, that's that extra layers with our society and culture, with that assumption that we are somehow less than, and we internalize that. I really want people to understand that we can change it and it doesn't have to be this way. And that's why I do the work that I do.
And that sat with me, and I related to that just because I've definitely felt like there's been times where I get into a room and I've earned my spot there, but deep down inside I feel like an imposter, or like someone's going to find out that I don't belong there. When really at the end of the day, it's your work ethic and what you do that gets you to where you're going, and really the work speaks for itself. So one of the things Corrine also mentioned was how childcare can affect the whole community.
Childcare affects everyone, whether you have young children or not. If you want to go to the restaurant in the afternoon and they're closed, it's because they don't have staff because there's no childcare. And just really helping people understand, like, yes, at work, you're overburdened. There's not enough employees. Wisconsin has a 2.9% unemployment rate right now. It's really, really low. So we need more people in the workforce. To do that, we need to invest in childcare.
And that's just one instance of how it would concern me if I wanted to go to a restaurant, even though I don't have kids. I can see how that would be a problem for people who do have kids, is finding childcare so that they can do the work that they need to do to take care of their kids. So one of Community Change's biggest days of action is called Day Without Childcare. This is a national day of action inviting parents, childcare advocates, allies, and caregivers to demand change to create a more equitable childcare system for all. And Corrine has been an impactful part of bringing her community together each year to do just that. Another thing Corrine talked about was some women who put themselves out there to be political activists in small communities open themselves up to backlash.
Also, being in a small community, you know, everybody knows who you are. So when you put yourself out there, you're very vulnerable, and it opens you up to people coming after you. It opens you up to the possibility that people aren't going to like you anymore, or that if having children, there's that extra layer of worry of, is this going to affect them? The decisions I'm making aren't just for me. I'm looking at the whole picture.
So talking to Corrine about her leadership past and experiences within the childcare movement, my biggest takeaway from this conversation has been that it really does affect everyone, in the sense that whether I have kids or not, or you have kids or not, eventually this issue will trickle down to us, and it will affect us in ways that we can't really do anything about until we join the movement. With that being said, I think there is a place for everyone in this movement to join alongside Corrine and make a change for a more equitable and inclusive America for everyone, no matter where you live.